Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast, your highest source of sacred truths and universal wisdom. Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Rachel Fiori, mystic, spiritual teacher, psychic healer, and founder of Masters of Self University. Join our journey of soul transformation as we deep dive into this latest episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Masters of Self University podcast. I'm your host, Ellie Lee.
And I'm your host, Danny Morley.
And happy 2024, everybody. Ding, ding,
Happy
ding, ding, ding.
2024.
I wish we had like confetti, though, you can hear on the mic. But welcome to the year. We've said this before. It's not officially the new year, but whatever. We'll just go with it.
Let's talk about that for a sec, because I like that. So I was in the shower the other day. You know, some people class 2024 as January 1st.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine. And some people classify it in March or April.
Yeah, I think it's when spring begins.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fine too. And I think the important thing from the way I see it is that we honor and respect that there is a solar cycle, right? There's 365 days in 1 year, and whichever day you want to choose that to be the beginning of, choose it. That's for you to create. And I think there is definitely an energy behind the calendar year. So if you like celebrating January 1st as the start of the new year, celebrate it, go for it. If you like celebrating it March, whatever, 21st, or is that the thing? Is it because of that's when Aries begins?
Yeah, and I think spring is all about like the rebirth, you know. It's all
Right.
it's about the beginning. Yeah. Aries
Cool.
energy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna celebrate. I'm gonna celebrate both.
Yeah. Happy 2024, everybody. We're here. This is the new year. Okay. We've arrived. Jeez.
The year of the dragon.
Yes. Cue sound effects of fire blowing out of one's mouth. Yeah, the year of the dragon. That's the Chinese year of the dragon. Wow. And the year of 8 in numerology, everybody.
And if you don't know what your life path number is, now this is just a bit of fun, right? This is the way we see it. It's just a bit of fun. This isn't the life path numbers, numerology. It isn't the deep inner work that we're here to talk about. But it is a bit of fun. You just go on Google, put in your date of birth. Mine's 8, and this year is the year of 8 because it's 2 + 2 + 4.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling it's going to be a wicked year for me.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, let's talk about this year. You know, I think that every year that passes, it's so funny because I feel like growing up, even, you know, all in my 20s and things like that, like every new year, you know, I was never deeply reflecting on any year because I was in the same bubble doing the same thing, you know. I was not growing in any way. I'm sure I was growing in little ways, right? But like I didn't understand what true growth meant. And now with every year, it's like I can really look back and go, wow. Here's where I was, here's where I got to, and here's where I'm going. And 2024, I really feel like for me is the year where I break out of the old reality that I have been so attached to my entire existence. And I really am stepping into this year choosing to choose my own reality. Like I feel that my consciousness has expanded and I really understand on a deeper level because all these concepts, right, that you hear, all this wisdom that, you know, teachers teach you. It's one thing if you hear it and you know it from your mind. And then it's another thing where you really start to embody it, where you really start to understand it. And that one for me has been, we are the creators of our reality. I've heard that for years, right? Like you create your own reality. It's like, what does that mean? I don't really get it. I don't really get it. And then it really hit me a few nights ago of like, oh, I've created my own reality. And in my reality, Ellie is always sad. Ellie is always depressed. Ellie is always going through a hard time. Ellie barely makes it through the day because she's always feeling all kinds of stuff. And it's always like, everything's jumping on her and she's worried and she's scared and she's panicked and she's this and that. That's been my reality. And because I've been, dealing with sadness and depression since I was a child, and it's all I've ever known. And I think being in like my family matrix as well, like there was a lot of sadness in there. I just thought that, well, this is just my life. And this is just the way that I am. And this is what I'm just going to have to deal with for the rest of my existence. And now I've really waken up to, no, it's not. You just choose that for yourself. You choose, it's on autopilot. As soon as I wake up, it's like, oh, here's another day. And here it's going to be hard and it's going to be sad and it's going to be all these things. I'm choosing that to be my reality. And now the shift is, because the other day, I told you, I was telling Danny, the other morning, literally on January 1st, I woke up and I was like, oh my God, it's all here. I'm so sad. I'm so anxious. I'm depressed. And I walked out of the bedroom. I closed the door and I sat in the living room and I was just processing what was coming up. And as I was opening my heart and I was just bringing love to all these programs that were activated, I heard my soul go, now we choose a different reality. All you have to do is transcend, transform, love all of these programs that have kept you in this reality. Let's alchemize that. And then now, what is the actual reality that you want to choose and you want to live in? And I verbally declared out loud, I choose a reality where what exists for me is power and is growth and is love. And that's the reality that I would choose now. And anything that is less than that, I will love you into transcendence. And I will constantly come back and anchor into my divinity and anchor into the connectedness, because this is the reality that I choose from here on out.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's a tricky line that we always talk about, like where mastery is walking this very thin line in between, okay, well, we need to accept the truth of what's coming up. We need to accept that all of this is here, but it's also not who I am and it's not true. But if we go to the extreme on the other side, so we got one side, we've got falling into the victim and falling into the programs and getting lost in all of the suffering which humanity has done for the last 10,000 years. Or on the other side, we've got the spiritual bypass. Oh, well, I'm all love and light and, everything's going to be perfect and blah, 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 blah. And then in between is always this happy medium, the oneness. I always see it as like the triangle, the Holy Trinity. You've got the two extremes and then oneness in between, the thing that unites both polarities. And that's really what we're looking for here. If you just slip off into, well, I only create this powerful reality and you're blind to what it is that's actually coming up, well, then you're going to stay blind to what you're actually unconsciously creating.
Yep.
And same goes for if I just fall into, and this is definitely the side that I've played both sides, but I definitely am more on the side of I'll fall into the programming, I'll fall into the depression. I'll want to make sure I'm alchemizing it, but because of that, I'm attached so much to it instead of coming back to this place of divinity. And that's really what this year I'm focusing on, is just really, I feel like last year I really focused on really finding my power and really seeing and feeling all the different programs that were in there. And now it's like, okay, you know what's in there, Danny. Now connect to your power, connect to your divinity, detach from all of the stuff that's going to keep trying to pull you down, and just keep going higher and higher and becoming the ways more and more and more.
Yeah. And then this is where it gets tricky, right? A lot of people go, okay, fine, I choose my reality to be this, this, and that, and like love and light and positivity. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. No. Because just like the programs, if they're not transforming and they're not actually healing, right? You're not bringing them into a higher frequency, they will keep you in the old reality, no matter what you say from your mind, right? So you got to do the work to transform whatever is keeping you down or low, and then constantly and consciously creating organically the new reality that you're choosing to be in. So when I dropped in the other morning and I was bringing love to everything that was showing up, I just felt this shift where I was like, oh, I can do this. Like I can do anything, because I can create anything I want, because I know how to do the work to get me out of that old world and stepping into this new world. And I really feel like I have this imprint on my soul that, like, yes, do I run avoidance programs? Yes. Yes. Is it painful to feel my shit and sometimes I don't want to? Yes. Are those programs still existent? Yes. Am I conscious of them? Yes. Do I bring love to them? Yes. And I know that those things will just keep alchemizing the more that I bring my love to it. And then it's this place of like, now it's exciting because when I say control, I don't mean a control program, but I'm in control now. Before it was like the programs were so much in control and I was like getting frazzled and lost in all this stuff. And now it's like, I am the driver of the seat. I'm letting my soul come to the forefront. And that's another thing for this year for me too, is stop ignoring my soul. I think that I've been in a battle with my soul my entire life because I let my mind, because we're all, trapped in our minds and we let our mind be the CEO, which is like really insane. Sometimes I'll like talk to our mentor Rachel, and she'll just like look at me. She's like, "That's ridiculous. Your mind again. It's ridiculous." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. I just got lost in my mind again." And just allowing myself to feel without getting lost in the thoughts and getting lost even in the emotions. Like really seeing, okay, these are the programs, these are emotional, these are mental programs. Now, what does my soul say? Where's my soul guiding me? And I was reflecting a lot on this entire year and like my entire life where I felt my soul telling me go right and I would go left because like my mind was like, well, that doesn't make sense, and why would you do that? And now the shift is in when my soul tells me to go right and my mind tries to take me left. Oh, that's my mind, let me follow my soul. And so that's a big thing for me this year, is to really let my soul guide me and to lead the way and not my mind.
Mhm. Yeah, one of the um, big things that I've been integrating since September is learning to trust my intuition,
Hmm.
and obviously that requires getting the hell out of your mind, which is really difficult when, as we've mentioned, we're so addicted to it. And it's been really challenging, and it's unearthed so many programs because I get trapped in this loop where I'll think I'll feel some guidance and then I'll go down it and then I'll second guess myself, and then the doubt will creep in, and then I'll be like, well, how do I know that that was my guidance? And then it will circle me like back around, and I end up like back at the beginning, and then I just end up going around in circles questioning like, well, was that my guidance? How do I know that it's my guidance? And then in that questioning, it's like, Danny, you're in your head.
Yeah.
Like, you're in your head. If you're questioning whether it's your guidance, you're
Yes.
in your head. So get out of it and just keep moving through life but it's really hard to do that when it's not really hard to do that. So this is one of the big things that both Ellie and I are working on is it's not really hard,
Yeah.
but we tell ourselves so much it's really hard.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just caught myself then, and I'm proud that I felt that.
Good
We
job.
tell ourselves that it's really hard, and that creates that reality. If we're telling ourselves, we have this belief that it's really hard to follow our intuition, it's really
Mhm.
hard to get out of our head, then it will be really hard. But if we
Mhm.
make it very simple, just like Rachel teaches, nope, just drop into your heart and follow the guidance, all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's that simple.
Yeah.
Then all the programs come up.
Yeah, and I think I don't wanna say it's hard, but what's challenging is you're learning to do the opposite of everything you've ever done, right? Which
Yes,
is
yes.
we've always just been mind focused and the mind's leading the pack. And now you're telling me the mind should be at the back of the line and your heart should be leading. So that transition is difficult. But when you're doing it and it's happening, it's like, oh, this is the natural way it should be, right? This is how it's always been. But we live in a world that, tells you the opposite as everything, because we live in the upside down world. And one of Rachel's teachings recently in the live membership that was so like, oh my, it smacked me in the face. I think it smacked you in the face too, of like, she was like, stop saying it's hard. It's not that it's hard, it's just painful. And all of us in the class were like, "Oh my," because we all do it, right? It's so hard, so hard, it's so hard. And it's like, that's what we're creating for ourselves in our path. Like, even when I say things like, "Oh my God, this is gonna take me forever to heal, and I have such a long journey," it's like, you're creating that, sis. Like, why are you doing that? Just do what you got to do, be in the way of presence and tackle whatever is here, and stop adding on to how difficult and how hard and I'm such a, and it's like, oh my God. And it's like, it's one of those moments where I'm like, God damn, like the things that we say and the things that we do. And it's, her teaching was so profound and so simple and so like, oh yeah, It's not hard, it's just painful.
But and then without going into the energy of the bypassing of being like, oh, everything's easy and everything's fine, and I'm
Yeah.
just gonna be positive.
Yeah.
Because there's that line. It's so easy to hear that and go, oh, everything's easy. I can just bypass anything that's hard. And
Mhm.
it's like, that's not exactly what we're saying. We're
Mhm.
saying like, yeah, it's difficult, but connect to your power, and from your power, it's just feel the pain,
Mhm.
and it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
But when all we've learned is to avoid, 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 powerless, 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 that powerlessness perceives it as hard. But
Yeah.
that's not who we are. So as
Right.
long as we stay attached to the powerlessness and all the parts that want to avoid and resist, yeah, it's still, we're going to keep creating that over and over and over again. Wow, what a huge subtle shift of just going, it's painful,
Yeah.
but I can do that.
Yes.
I can face pain.
Yeah.
That's what this path is.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, like I could feel that subtle shift too. It almost felt like a sigh of relief of like, oh, okay, it's not that it's hard. It's just painful. Like you can feel pain, Ellie, and you know what to do when the pain comes. And yeah, it was just it's just yeah, it's just moments like that where like a piece of the puzzle comes in and it's like, okay, I got this. We can do this. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Stuff comes up, open your heart, alchemize it. Stuff comes up, open your heart, alchemize it. Like you can face it, you can do it. You've been doing it. And I think the hardest part, if we can say hard, is like when you first awaken and you're like, "Oh my god, there's so much here," and you don't know what to do, right? But it's like for us, like we know what to do. So let's stop saying that it's hard. Like we got this. And yeah, I just love that teaching so much.
For me, it just like really exposed where my mind was so much keeping itself trapped in the powerlessness. It
Mm.
just wanted to stay there of like, oh, it's so hard. And for me, immediately, I could feel this victim that just wanted to like drown in how difficult the journey is and everything that I've chosen. Oh, whoa, me is so hard. And, it's like, yeah, it might be a little difficult to feel this pain, but bro, you got this. Come on,
Yeah. Yeah.
pull your socks up. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. And when she gave that teaching, I had all these flashbacks of this entire year of how many times you and I were like, this is so hard. Like, this is so hard. And there is victim in that. You look like, and that came with a lot of comparing myself to like other people who aren't on the journey or just like vacationing, having a blast, going to all these parties. I'm like, oh, my life is so hard. And it's like, sis, buck up. Okay. You got this. All right. It's challenging because your soul came here for greatness, so why don't you stop looking at the cup half empty and look at that it's half full and do what you need to do. And so it's just it's just a moment where it just like ignites the fuel, the light. It ignites the fire in me to like get back up and go, all right, we got this. Let's keep trekking. Um and another thing that she gave in this live membership that was really like, it was one of those one liners that like hit me. It's like, she said the only thing that matters is your vibrational frequency. And that was another thing that like really like was profound for me too, of like, how much do I choose to vibrate at low frequencies, especially when we're talking about how difficult this journey is, or when I'm the victim, or like woe is me, and like, my life is so hard and all this stuff. And it's like, I keep choosing that. Like, why do I keep choosing that? Like, that's wild. Like, humans are so crazy. I look at humans sometimes, I'm like, we're nuts, like what we choose constantly. We always choose the lesser. We always choose the lower instead of choosing higher. And so that
Because
was,
we've been brainwashed to do that.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
the whole societal makeup, like however you want to look at this, like whether you believe in it, it really doesn't matter what you believe in is, the powers that were, or the powers that be, or whoever's behind whatnot. You can see that humanity is extremely disempowered,
Yeah.
extremely, and
Mhm.
we are brainwashed. I mean, this isn't something we fully got into in that last podcast about alcohol, but I mean, when COVID hit, liquor stores were classed as like like essential
Yeah.
places,
Yeah.
right? It's
Mhm.
what kind of society do we live in
Upside down
where
ass world do we live?
like liquor stores are now essential and everything is must close down, but liquor stores must stay open,
Yeah, and they're never teaching you how to actually stay healthy. But
right?
here's this and here's that and take this and take that. It's like, what? Where? What? What?
Yeah. And then we come back to what you said, the only thing that matters is your vibrational frequency. Okay,
Yeah.
great. So
Yeah.
now let's start to unpack like what are all the things that are affecting my vibrational frequency?
Yep.
Well, we've got the media,
Yep.
we've got all the content we consume on social media. And
Mhm.
that's not to say social media is wrong or bad.
Mhm.
This is social media, what we're doing right now. So
Mhm.
I'm not by any means saying, oh, social media is bad. My social media on my TikTok and my Instagram is full of people that I really enjoy listening to, that raise my vibrational frequency, that expand my awareness, that make me what I like to think a more awakened, enlightened being
Mhm.
by hearing what they have to say and challenging my perspectives and whatnot. So I'm not at all saying like, oh, social media is bad. This is social media. But how are we using it?
Mhm.
How are we watching the media and falling into the fear? Are we what kind of food are we putting in our body when we go to a
Mhm.
grocery store? Are we falling into the brainwashing and the way that they advertise? There's so many ways we can start to look at this and then see all these different things are affecting our vibrational frequency. And
Yeah,
yeah,
and what are we listening to? What are we watching? All that kind of stuff. What are we consuming literally? Like my life before my awakening was I was obsessed with celebrity gossip. Like I was obsessed with pop culture. I was obsessed with all that stuff. And like looking back, I'm like, gosh, like the moment I woke up, I was looking at celebrity news. Like, what, Ellie? And it's like that. Well, that's where I was at. And now it's like anytime I see those kind of things, I'm like, oh my God, it's just distractions and ways to like disconnect further and further from yourself. Like when you really look at this entire world, it's just how can we get these people to disconnect from their souls? That's the goal. And let me tell you something, they've done a pretty damn good job. But now, um, so many of us are waking up and seeing through all the illusions and the delusions and connecting back to the beingness of who and what we are. And that's what's so magical about this incarnation and this existence. And, I'm sure that in the future there'll be movies about all of this. And I hope I get to watch it wherever I am, be like, yeah, it was like that. It was pretty nuts. They didn't exaggerate on the details here. Um, but yeah, I think the
there
goal.
already are. The Matrix,
Yeah, yeah,
Star
yeah,
Wars.
yeah. The name of the game is how low can we bring these people, And it's like now we're rising above that, which is like so exciting.
Yeah, it's really cool to be a part of. I feel like every month, or at least every couple that goes by through doing this work, I can feel my awareness expanding. I can see different things. I'm able to just feel like I see things a lot more clearer in the way that humanity has been brainwashed. And it it brings me into a very different place. We've heard 2024 through a lot of people that are really tapped in. I know Rachel's releasing podcasts for all the predictions that she sees, and it's going to be an interesting year.
Mhm.
And I'm really grateful to have this work because I know things are going to come to the surface. I
Mhm.
know humanity is going to be tested. Um, I mean, we've seen it a lot in the last few years, and I'm 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 interested. I'm ready
Mhm.
to move through these tests and to have the light expose more of the truth and to see what happens. And the beautiful thing is that I know that throughout everything that's going to go down, whatever that might be, that because I have this work, I'm going to be able to alchemize the fear that comes up and I'm going to come back to my heart and find the guidance from my soul. And as long as I do that, as Rachel said, you're eternal beings.
Yeah.
I'm not fully connected to that truth yet. There's aspects of it that have integrated.
Yeah.
Um, I had this experience when I was young of having that realization but it's so wrapped up in the fear of
Mhm.
me being nothing and this existence being meaningless that it hasn't fully integrated through. And I'm looking forward to having that, because I know it's gonna completely change the game when I fully like awaken to the fact that
Mhm.
like we're an eternal soul and we're here just having this human experience. Because I hear that all the time, and it hits deep,
Yeah.
but I've yet to fully live in that truth
Mhm.
all of the time. I'm yet
Yeah.
to fully be connected to that all of the time, which I have a feeling through this year of everything that's coming up, that's probably we're going to face as a collective, that that wound is going to get activated and I will have to work through it. And it's hopefully going to connect me back to that 8-year-old kid that was having that awakening. And yeah, it's going to allow me to expand to that place and stay connected there. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. It's so exciting because I know that every passing year, it's just becoming like more expansive. It's like I used to have like goals in my life, like career goals, right? Life goals. And it's like all that stuff is like trash. Like the only quote unquote goal that I have is like just keep doing the work, just keep expanding, just connecting deeper. And like let's see what we can experience in this lifetime as we come back home to ourselves, as we connect to our divinity. And that's really exciting and really fun and something to like constantly look forward to. And I know that you know I definitely have had so many beautiful moments where it's like connecting back to your divinity, and like whether it's gifts, whether it's having really feeling your soul like guiding you, it's like there is no amount of money or fame or
Yeah.
clout or anything that can compare to what that feels like, because it is nothing outside of you. And most of humanity has never experienced that, right? And the fact that we get to go on that ride, and everybody has a choice to go on that ride, right? It's whether or not you're going to jump on the truck or not. But those are the moments where it's like, keep going, sis, because there is so much more of this. And yeah, it's just so much to look forward to.
Yeah, when you have those breakthroughs, those moments of clarity,
Uh,
of deeper connection, it's like, whoa, this has been
yeah.
here this whole time. And if this
Mm,
is here, how much more is in there? You know, there's
yeah.
so much more to discover. And, as Rachel says, that your healing journey ends, but your evolution as a soul, that's infinite. You keep going.
Yeah.
So while you're here as a human, go as far as you can. Go to the
Yeah.
end zone.
She said a quote last night. She said, "You can fully heal in this life. You're never done evolving." I was like, "Let's go!" Just like infinite beings. The other day, I didn't share this with you, but the other day I was like dropping into my heart space and I was opening, and I think, and I don't want to say I think, I know that one of my psychic gifts is that I'm just able to see visions. And when I say visions, it's not like premonitions, things like that. It's just like I just get visions of things like very clear as day. And the other day I was dropping in in big bold letters, I got this vision that said level 35. And I was like, what is that about? But like, and intuitively, I was like, oh, okay, I'm on level 35, whatever that means. And it's just like, but those are like the moments where I'm just like, this is so cool and so fun and so rad and so unexplainable. And to know that like there is so much more to experience. We just got to heal is like everything you see in the movies. Like, I used to, watch Harry Potter and all that stuff. Like, hey man, so be cool if we were like actually magical. And it's like, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's funny you say that, because you constantly have been saying over the last couple of weeks, I wish there was this measure on, where I'm at. And so, I mean, I feel like that was your soul going, oh, you want a measure? Here you go.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool. And like even today I was working with one of our amazing coaches. Shout out to Gregoire. If anybody ever wants to work with Gregoire, run to go work with this man. But we were he was guiding me through a healing, and I just had this like really quick faint vision of me walking up to a door, and it's like it's just those moments where it's like, all right, just keep going, just keep doing it. Like don't do it because you want the gifts and you want this, you want that. Like just do it for yourself. Like do it because you love yourself enough to go on this expansive, beautiful ride of coming back to your divinity. Like that's what keeps me going. Because all this stuff is cool, but like what's even cooler is like the power, and I don't mean that like, oh, I'm like just coming back to like who I am truly.
Mm, beautiful.
Yeah.
So this year, focusing on staying in our divinity, finding our
Yes.
power. I started really working on the way of responsibility last summer.
Mm-hmm.
After doing last year, we took the Introduction to the Ways of Oneness. It's a digital course that anyone can take right now. That's going to introduce you to what the Ways of Oneness are, all 20 of them, the different vibrational frequencies. And I did that last year, but it was really hard for me to fully take in all of the teachings and fully understand it because I
Mm-hmm.
still had a lot of healing to do with the power within.
Mm-hmm.
And I can look back now and I can really feel that there was a lot that was blocking me. There was a lot of separation.
Mm-hmm.
All of our programs are like they keep us in separation from our divinity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Ways of Oneness are the opposite of that. They're oneness consciousness, they're inclusion. So one thing that I learned is when we as humans have a lot of programs of separation, we when we hear oneness, when we hear, like the word of God, like encompassing, and we're so much in separation, it it creates like we're separate from what we
Mm-hmm.
truly are.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't fully grasp these ways of oneness truly because there was so much inside of me that when Rachel would say, I am the way of connection, this part in me was going, I'm not the way of connection.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. How can I be the way of unconditional love? I'm not even worth loving. Like when that is a core belief, and that's how my inner child feels. I'm still working on that part. When that's a core belief, it's really hard to integrate, you know, being oneness consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And so this last year has been working through a lot of the programs, really finding my power through the work we offer with the power within to prepare me to just get me to a level where I can actually start absorbing
Mm-hmm.
and learning and integrating what the ways of oneness truly are. And I'm still exploring that. And I know this is going to be an amazing journey. And this year, one of the things I'm really focusing on is becoming the ways. And I know I'm going to be focusing on that probably for the rest of my life. But this year, more than last year, last year it felt like it was for me, it was the introduction to the ways of oneness. But I
Mm-hmm.
was still really finding the power within. And
Mm-hmm.
now for me this year, it's like, no, this year is about really becoming the ways. And I'm excited to do that. I'm really excited. I know I'm going to go back and watch the video course back through again and absorb more of the teachings and really focus on integrating. And I've been working hard on becoming the way of responsibility. And that doesn't just mean in, healing my inner child in when I'm triggered. It's also like showing up responsible in keeping my house clean. I know I've
Mm-hmm.
mentioned this before on a podcast, but doing things like that, like being responsible with my finances. This last year, I've been very responsible with my dog. That's been one of the big things. But all of these things we can easily be like, well, that's not spirituality, spirituality is the love and light stuff. Being responsible isn't what it means to be an enlightened being. No, it is actually. It's the first way of oneness. Because if we can't show up as a mature adult, how are we who's responsible and looks after their things and looks after their house and looks after their dog and looks after themselves, how are we ever going to achieve high levels of oneness consciousness when we're still showing up like a child?
Mm-hmm.
So it's been huge for me this last, I would say, 6 months, just really working on becoming the way of responsibility as a base to just open the door to be able to come the rest of these incredible ways. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to focus more on the ways of oneness this year. Now I've felt like I found my power a lot more. Where are you
Beautiful.
at with all of
Me too. I second that.
that?
We're initiates. How do you say the word?
Initiates.
An initiate. What? Okay.
Initiate, yes. An
Okay. Yes.
initiate of the mystical path.
Yeah. Of the ways, and yeah, just learning also how to be more responsible in every single facet, shape, form, learning patience and really surrendering to my path. I've been fighting my path a lot. I think this past year I said many times, I hate this path, I hate this journey because of how painful it's been. And I can just feel a shift like, no, I honor this path and I honor the road that I'm on. And yeah, I too, to become the ways and to really just step into my power more and more. I've spent too many years being powerless and weak, and it showed up yesterday. Through a conversation where I ended the conversation, I was like, "Wow, I just ran a lot of programs of powerlessness there," and then not judging myself and hating myself for it, but loving myself through it and honoring and being the way of loyalty to my path, and just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And so, um, yeah, I wish that for all of you guys at home too who are listening, whatever you are focusing on this year, I really, really, really hope that it is more growth and more love within. Truly.
Beautiful. All right.
Yeah.
Well, if you've enjoyed this podcast, if you can throw a comment or like or subscribe, it really helps us put this on for free. So please share it amongst friends.
Yeah.
Let's spread this message of doing the real work and
Yeah.
what it means to find your power and become the Ways of Oneness. Let's
Yeah.
do it. Like 2024, this is the year to do it. If you're going to do it, go big or go home,
Yeah.
because this is going to be a big year. I know
Yeah.
Ellie and I feel it. A lot of other people feel it that we listen to in this community. So I look forward to working with all of you in some capacity, even if it's just you listening on the other end
Yeah.
through these podcasts. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.